Hello and welcome to Open Your Mind Radio. You have myself, Alan James.
Myself, Stephen George. Good evening.
Good evening. Now, you'll probably find that Steve's audio is a little bit different. That's because he's calling in on Skype. Because there's a couple of things going on Steve's end, so he's quite busy. So, unfortunately, he couldn't get down to the studio. So, he's Skyping in instead. And fingers crossed that everything will go okay. Right, a couple of things that we have to get through. It's Sunday, the 25th of February 2018, just to let everybody know. And on the show tonight, we have a chap called Vincent from Orgone, UK. Now, Vincent is a friend of Harry's, and he does fantastic stuff regarding organised stones and the pyramids and all that. So we're going to be talking about them and the science behind it and what he does and how he does it and everything else. So that's going to be quite interesting. Plus, at the last 20 minutes or so of the show, about 8:25, we're going to be bringing in a lady called Tracey Boland. And Tracey is going to be talking at the Open Mind Conference down in Waterford next week. So that's the plan of attack. Now, before we do anything else, let's find out what the communication channels are.
The communication channels are email info@oymireland.com, by phone 046 927 1212, and you can also contact us direct through the OYM chat room.
Yes, thank you, Mary. 046 927 1212 is the magic phone number for the studio this evening. We also have the website as well, oymradio.com. The chat room there on the website there, you can see the link on the left-hand side. So we're going to be monitoring the chat room for questions for our guest this evening. So a big hi to everyone already logged in the OYM chat room. Also, peoplesinternetradio.com, we're over there too. And we're going to monitor the chat room over on PIR. And again, a big hi to everyone who's also logged in. We also have on our own website the link to the anti-social media Facebook. We also have the link for Skype, the YouTube link for all our podcasts, and we also have Twitter as well. And the email info@oymradio.com is the email address. And as we do say most weeks, if you haven't listened to us before, do drop us a line. Let us know where you're listening from. We always appreciate those kind of emails. And we also have the link down there on the website as well for the TuneIn Radio Link application. That's a free application for your smartphone or your iPhone. And the one thing that I do forget to mention, I'm going to mention it now. On our website, on the left-hand side, you will see our own smartphone app, which Alan designed about, I think it must be 12 months ago or more even. But that application is there, and it's a free one, designed by Alan himself. So do check that out as well. Alan.
Brilliant stuff. Cheers, Steve. Right, a couple of things before we get our guest on, as usual. Just to let people know that next week, as you know, the Open Mind Conference is going to be on. We're going to be talking at the conference on the Saturday morning. And I got a phone call from Richard Cumbers, the Pain Genie expert. And Richard's going to be down in Waterford as well. He's going to be down there, and you'll have a few products to demo. One of them will be the healing blanket that Bernadette Boland talked about, and he's going to have the Pain Genie, and he's going to be there. You can go up to him, have a chat with him, and talk to him about a few bits and pieces. I don't know whether he's going to be offering treatments, but you can talk to him about that. So Richard is going to be there, just to let you know. So there's going to be a fantastic gathering of people down there in Waterford. So if you're not going, try and get a ticket, because there's going to be really good people down there. Also, we'd like to send out congratulations to Mick from Liffey Sound FM and his partner Karen, and they announced today on Facebook that they are having another baby. So well done, Mick. I think we a little bit of a there you go.
That was Rent a Crowd there, wasn't it?
Rent a Crowd there. Well done, Mick. Congratulations, and Karen, his partner.
Congrats, Mick. Yeah.
Now, the other thing we're going to kick off with is, now this is kind of really got to do with Dublin, and it's not even international, it's not even national, it's a Dublin thing. But in a street in Dublin called Frederick Street, there was a well-known music shop which has been there for years and years and years, called Walton's Music. And unfortunately, the shop's going to close. Walton's Music Store in the city centre is to shut its doors amid soaring rental prices. So the rental prices in Dublin, even though we're going through a recession and the problems that we're having, and the landlords are still saying, well, I want my money, I don't care. Walton's is now closing down. Now, they're not closing down fully. There is still a Walton's over in Blanchardstown Shopping Centre, which is just outside Dublin. And they're going to stay open, but the shop itself on Frederick Street, and I used to go in there when I was young. The days I couldn't afford to buy, when the 7-inch singles were going up in the charts, they were more expensive than when they were coming down the charts. So as I couldn't afford the singles going up the charts, I waited till they were coming down, and then I bought them in Walton's. They were cheaper. That's how poor I was.
The last of the big spenders, eh?
Hey, there you go. But that's it. And Walton's, everybody knew Walton's music. It was a music shop. Everybody went into the musos and everything else. You know, so it's just a pity it's closing down. But they're staying open in Blanchardstown anyway, which is a big shopping centre outside Dublin. So that's good news anyway. Right, Steve, over to you.
Yeah, we have some news from the irishtimes.com, and the headline is, why were my car registration details in database used by welfare? It says, database shared by government departments receiving unnecessary information. A series of requests under the Freedom of Information legislation last year about the government's major data sharing projects led me to wonder, it says, just what information might be held in my own file. It had all the information I had expected: my name, address, date of birth, mother's maiden name, place of birth, nationality, details of PRSI payments, but then a surprise. Within a series of tiny print screenshots were 3 lines of data containing details of my current car registration and its motor tax expiry date, and also the details of the only 2 previous vehicles registered to me. It says, along with their most recent or current motor tax expiration dates. The Commissioner said in July it had been informed that the practice of the Department of Transport sending unnecessary data to the DPER for the purposes of maintaining the SCV system had now ceased, confirming that it was not necessary in the first place. And for the full article, you can actually go and check that out on the irishtimes.com website. Yeah, that's scary information there. So yeah, just when you're wondering how much information they have about you, they go and pull that one out and let you know. Well, they've got more than you think.
Well, that's it. It looks like they're sharing the data and crossing over, and they're going to have your inside leg measurement soon by the look of things. So we just have to be careful. Well, I don't know, but it's Big Brother again. I mean, we know it's coming down. The whole system's coming down, so hopefully that won't be for long. What we have here is the independent.ie. It says, taxpayers beware. This time it's our money, not Europe's, paying for infrastructure. The vast bulk of cash that's going to be needed to fund the new roads, hospitals, houses announced yesterday will be raised at home through taxation. Surprise, surprise, I think they mentioned 116 billion or something they're going to spend. Now they're going to spend our money that we don't have. They're not going to get it from Europe, and there must be an election coming up because that's why they're saying it. The old fallback of infrastructure, part funded by European Union funds, familiar from signage on hundreds of Irish roads and school and hospital walls, no longer applies. The crash is now definitely over. Yeah, right, dream on. And Ireland is now a net contributor to the EU budgets. So this planned ramp up in spending is going to be paid for by the taxpayers, either directly or through new loans. At 116 billion over 10 years, the 2040 is a bit of a red herring. The numbers are big, but not enormous. Yeah, basically they're going to tax us more. Taxes on money that, again, we don't have. I mean, talk about trying to get blood out of a stone. What do these people not understand? I really don't get it. Anyway, here's your week, Steve.
Yeah, my week's actually hasn't been too bad until today. I'll just without saying too much, I'll just give a brief overview. For anyone who's wondering why I'm not actually in the studio, just my daughter was unwell today, so my wife has brought her down to Mullingar Hospital. And we've already kind of been told that before she even went into the hospital that there's at least a 6 to 7 hour minimum hours waiting time. So I mean, it's just ridiculous. Unfortunately, it just happens to be a quite busy hospital at the best of times, but 7 hours waiting, and she was down there at about 4 o'clock this afternoon, and so we're not expecting her home anytime soon. So I know that these conditions are it's across the board really. It's not just here in Ireland, it's across the UK and probably the rest of the world as well. I know the NHS over there in the UK are having a similar situation, and it doesn't seem like it's ever going to end. It's been like this for as long as we can remember. And it doesn't seem like it's going to end anytime soon. So the message is, don't get sick. And the second message is, take your health into your own hands and learn as much as you can about your health and the alternative ways of treating all ailments and diseases, because chances are you might need them someday. It's good information to know. And I'm sure every one of us has a local health food shop. If you're ever passing your health food shop, pop in. The people behind the counters there are very friendly, and they are a wealth of information. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And the only other thing that I want to mention just very, very quickly is we had some information in the chat room last week. People were saying that they had noticed that there had been no spraying. The chemtrailing seemed to have stopped. And I was kind of a little bit excited about that. And I did notice on Monday when I was in work that there were no chemtrails. Now I work up in Dublin, just not too far away from that music shop that Alan spoke of there, Walton's, in Blanchardstown. I'm not too far from that. And I have to say, Monday was a nice day. There were no chemtrails. I think the same held true for Tuesday as well. But from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it was back in full swing again, chemtrails. And even yesterday, I was out and about yesterday afternoon, and the same as well. So it hasn't gone away. So what can we do? I don't know. Just keep on keeping on, fighting the fight and spreading the information and supporting those people who are fighting the chemtrailing on our behalf, I suppose. Terry Lawton down in Wexford, for one of them. He's doing Trojan work there, for the whole, getting the information out there in relation to geoengineering. So, that's my week, kind of in a condensed version. How's yours?
Yeah, not too bad. I agree with you what you say about the health thing. I'm on the serapeptides at the moment and the spirulina, and I'm looking at getting some CBD oil as well. You have to take your own health and manage it yourself. Relying on hospitals, 6 or 7 hours in a waiting room, A&E, that's just madness. It really is. Preventative maintenance is probably the way to go. I know sometimes they have to go down, whether it's maybe you broke a bone or something like that. I mean, that's understandable, but general health, what I'm referring to with that. And, the chemtrails, they're spraying again, and until we see them gone, I won't be convinced that things are happening, but we'll see what happens. Right, just before we bring Vincent on, just a couple of things. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I put a request on the show regarding the sourcing of a bass guitar, either a cheap one or a free one. Now, I mentioned the young lad's parents. He's a friend of my son, and they didn't have the money or the funds to help him get a bass guitar, and he's a good kid and good family. And, he deserves, some people deserve a break now and again, yourself. So we put out a request, and fair play to Harry. When Harry came on the show, Harry Rhodes came on the show, at the time, Harry said that he had the bass and that we could have it for free. And that was brilliant. Thanks to Harry for doing that. And also a long-time listener and supporter of OYM, Dougie, he made a donation which helped purchase some of the accessories needed for the bass guitar. Plus, they needed a little bit of work on it. It needed a bit of tweaking, and that had to be paid for as well. So that covered that as well. So that was all done. Got new strings, new bits and pieces, new straps, new case and everything else. So we presented the everything to him last night, and the images are on Facebook, but I will send out an email for people who aren't on Facebook so you can see the images. But a big thanks to Harry and Dougie for, making the young lad very, very happy, and now he can enjoy playing music. I mean, that's the caveat. He has to practice and he has to work hard, and that's the deal. And I'm sure he will. And his mum and dad were over the moon because it's something that he wanted to do but wasn't in the position to be able to do it. And well, it's good. So thanks to Harry and Dougie for helping out there. Much appreciated. Right, all right. Now we're going to crack on. We're going to get a guest on, and we're going to find out all about Orgone Energy. Now we don't actually have a bio. We didn't get a bio for Vincent. So the best thing to do is we'll bring Vincent on, and we'll have a chat to him about his background and find out what it's all about. Good evening, Vincent. How are you?
Hello, Alan.
Listen, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Much appreciated. Now, we obviously heard about you from Harry, and I've seen some of the stuff you do, and they are gorgeous. They really look well, I mean, they're fantastic pyramids and the stuff you're making. But before we get into talking about the whole science and why you do and how you do it, give us a bit of bio of how you got involved and why you got involved in making them.
Yeah, well, basically, it's a bit of a cliche, but I've been into this knowledge, for a very early age. Like, for instance, I joined a Shaolin class at the age of 9, and the first thing I asked the teacher was I want to learn about the actual philosophy behind it and the chi energy. So that gives you a glimpse of, my mentality, so to speak, my character.
Yeah. And
that progressed, and I was reading books, all the benchmark books about the Kabbalah, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and the Grimoires, and all these informational books about hidden energies. And obviously I had to cover magic and that, and there's a lot of forces out there with different names. I think it all goes under, they all overlap, and a lot of them are the similar energy.
Okay, and obviously I've seen some of the stuff that you've done. How did you get into understanding the science of the pyramids and the stuff? Tell us about the stuff you make and the range of stuff you make, and then we'll get talking about that.
Oh, the stuff I make, basically, I thought, well, I got into Orgone, basically, it's basically on the website, and some of the outrageous stuff I heard about it, in all honesty, I was laughing to myself when I heard about the things it does, and I ended up buying one, a pendant. It's only a small pendant. I thought I'd give it a try. I'd be neutral about it. And I wore it every day. And after so many months, I forgot I was even wearing it. But after about 6 months, I thought, well, what has it done? And it did do something for me. I felt lifted. I felt better. I just felt lifted, energised. And I thought, well, this is only a small thing. This has got something in it, something to it. And I'll give a piece to my mother. And I said to her, keep this on you, and I'll come back in 6 weeks. She said, what does it do? I said, it just makes you feel better. And then things really took off. When I started doing experiments with it and started making it myself.
Okay, and how did you get to the science to know what worked and what didn't? How did you do your testing? Because obviously there's a lot of people out there that are making these pyramids and the pendants and everything else, and I know people have to be careful if they're buying it off people, whether they work or not. I mean, so how did you go about doing your testing?
In all honesty, Alan, in all honesty, an 8-year-old could do it when it comes to Orgone technology. It's just basically inorganic and organic materials mixed together. Okay. It really is that simple, honestly.
But Harry did say to us that there is a little bit of knowledge that you have to have, and there's certain metals you don't use, and I think there's gold shavings or something that you might be using in yours?
Yes, I do that, yeah, 24 carats gold leaf. I use them. Well, I think every metal has its own flavour, so to speak. And but the main thing is having inorganic and organic materials. That's what creates the Orgone energy.
Okay.
So like in theory, you could just have one metal.
Okay, so I've seen the pendants. The pendants are lovely that you put around the neck, you wear around your neck, and the pyramids.
Yes.
So what?
Thank you.
If people went to you have a Facebook page. We'll get all your details at the end of the show, where people can go over and contact you to find out about your pendants and your pyramids. Can you tell us what, if people buy a pendant and a pyramid, what they will expect to experience or feel or the energies. I mean, it's obviously got to do with protecting them from EMF energies and stuff like that. But what would they expect?
Well, one thing is, I mean, it sounds a bit derogatory to other orgone makers that an 8-year-old could do it. Perhaps I was being a bit harsh there. But the actual science behind it is so simple. Now, when you start messing about with frequencies and the quartz crystal, that's something else. And that is a different ball game. And fortunately enough, I was collecting crystals at the age of 12. So I've always had an interest in that school. I took the actual subject, geology. And what people would expect, well, first, a settling-in period for most people. There's a lot of people who have vivid dreams when in contact with Orgone. And this will soon vanish. And it's a settling-in period. They'll have vivid dreams and mild flu-like symptoms. I mean, I remember making one piece, which I designed especially for EMF protection, and I nearly went to the doctors myself for this. It took me 3 months settling-in period.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And even though I was surrounded by all this Orgone, this particular piece, it threw me for over 10 weeks, and I was on the verge of going to the doctor. So, but then it went. I just had to make the appointment, and it just went.
Okay.
So, there's a settling-in period. But what it does do, energise any bioorganism within its field.
Okay,
so obviously that depends on it depends on the size of the pyramid or pendant and so forth.
Okay, so for a beginner, let's try and understand what people need to do. I'm sure there's people listening in and saying, right, what's the process? What needs to be done? Do they contact you and say, right, Vincent, I want to be protected from X, Y, and Z, or I have health issues and I need X, Y, and Z. How does it work? What normally happens?
Well, that's what I do. There's a lot of people don't do that. In fact, I don't know. I know very few people globally who do that. Basically, they'll just make an Orgone product and not be concentrating on natural frequencies what it's knocking out. And I mean, if you squeeze the quartz, and that's one thing. But you have smoky quartz. There's lots of other quartzes as well. Rose quartz, for instance, and there's a lot of quartzes, which still, when squeezed, will actually start resonating, releasing a frequency. So what I've done, when I was setting up the company, I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice to have something for common health issues?
Yeah.
And I thought I'll have one for the heart, because a lot of people suffer from bereavements and, issues of the heart, with even love and things like that. And I thought I'd have one for, which I call the Kundalini. There's a lot of people I know with the chakras are out of line.
Yeah.
And that causes issues with the health as well. So I thought I'd have that. I've done one which is the Home Guard. That is particularly for EMF and protection. And I thought I'd do one for good fortune, because people always like a bit of good fortune. And people always want an extra bit of opportunity and good luck, so to speak. And there's 2 more as well. There's other products which I do. But, I thought I'd just get the basic problems of what humanity has, so to speak. The man in the street, so to speak.
Now, I will say, Vincent, there's people probably listening to this and they'll say, how can Vincent know the frequency of certain things like heart, and for, they might want to have more fortune in their life and stuff like that. Now, let's go back to the spooky machine that we got gifted to us by John White. There are frequencies in the spooky machine that will actually, you can program in and run them using the quantum entanglement to actually improve certain things like love, your love life, money, bring money into your life. So there are rife frequencies for this. So it's not just Vincent talking about this with his Orgone products. John White and the spooky team have frequencies in the database. for these specific needs or requirements for some people. So just keep that in mind. There are frequencies out there. So Vincent is obviously doing the same thing. He's tapping into the frequencies with his Orgone products, depending on the needs of the person and what they're looking for. So kind of that makes sense. So how many issues do you have, Vincent? How many issues can you address if people come to you? Or can you make them up specifically for a certain need or concern?
Yeah, I can do. Fortunate enough, I come from a very spiritual background and psychic background. So I'm slightly gifted with having communication with the other side, with my guides. So that's a big help.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do custom pieces for people. Fundamentally, I have six items available: heart, home guard, EMF protection, good fortune, kundalini, and one or two others. But sorry, I lost the trail of thought now. Can you repeat yourself again, Alan?
Yeah,
You said you was on about.
No, I was just talking about if people have a specific requirement and they come to you and they say, look, I need something, either a pendant or a pyramid for this. Can you produce that frequency for that person? Yeah.
Well, I keep it simple, you see. Obviously, I haven't got a shed full of these technologies, of all this expensive equipment. Fortunate enough, I've got a gift of, I've been slightly psychic and that, and I've been in touch with my guides, and they do give me information, they give me thought imprints, and so basically what I've done, I've taken the classic stones, like say I'll give you a simple one, my heart pyramid. What more could I really add to that apart from a green adventuring, which is a great, a beautiful crystal. But I use rose quartz, and you'll find that it's like the chakras. The heart chakra will resonate between a certain range of frequencies.
And of course, chakras are linked to body parts and emotions and frequencies, so they're all linked. So there might be a heart chakra.
That's right.
Yeah, and so they're all interlinked.
Yeah, that's right. So the rose quartz is naturally linked to that, to the heart chakra for a bereavement, for love, and all affairs of the heart.
Yeah,
it's naturally linked to that. So you don't need no fancy equipment apart from the knowledge of crystals to work that out. And there is certain circumstances which there is a few contradictions, like I've just mentioned one there, green adventuring. That's a very high resonance to that, and that is like the smoky quartz as well. Even though it's a lower chakra base chakra, because it's quartz, it has links with the other dimension.
Mm.
And there's a few crystals like that, like the great lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli is not just a throat chakra. There's some crystals which, even though it's the throat chakra, it'll go into the interdimensional, the other side, so to speak, the spirit world of the throat chakra.
Okay.
If you can understand that.
Yeah, no, totally. Well, I think crystals are very underrated. I think people don't realise the energy and the power of crystals. And I don't know whether you do anything with shungite at all. Do you do anything with shungite?
Yes, I do. Look, most of the products are at a base of shungite for cleansing, for self-cleansing.
Okay, because I seen the shungite, which I thought was a good idea. One of the things I'd like to do down the road is get a Berkey filter. And you can get shungite stones. And what you do is, when it goes through the filter system, you can put them at the bottom of the filter and it remineralizes the water before you drink it. Now, I don't know whether you can do that with the pyramids or the pendants, Vincent. Is that something that can be done?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, I regularly charge up water. I've had a slight chest infection lately, and I've been drinking pint after pint of charged water. And that's without the shungite. I've got shungite in stock. But just charged water, and basically just charging the water with Orgone. And what it does, it makes it tastes a bit like mineral water, and you've got like a hint of like metallic taste to it. But that goes through the system, and that really helps your system as well. Your liver and kidneys and whatever. And that's what I do personally. Yeah.
Okay, and how are you? Obviously, you're very busy. I know you have a few staff helping you out, and as I say, I've seen some of your stones and pendants, and they look fantastic. And I know you said earlier about a young child could do it, but for me, a lot of the things in technology and doing stuff like this is all about the blue tack and sticky tape. It's not so much the general day-to-day stuff, but knowing how to do the tweak to get the best out of something. And I think that's where, when you said there you're dealing with frequencies, there are people on YouTube, and they're saying, okay, well, what you do is you get a bit of this and you get a crystal to stick it in, and there seems to be no thought process in the actual frequencies and why.
No direction, no thought process whatsoever.
Exactly, and this is why people have to be careful. You just don't go to a website and buy them. You need to do the research and find out who's making them, and what knowledge they have about making them and what they're putting into it, because you don't want to get the wrong thing. Now, we did have a guy on a few years ago on OYM, a chap called Colin, and he goes around Ireland and he gifts telephone masts. He's changing the kind of chi organ energy, the chi energy from negative to positive. But a few times he said that he's gone to do that and gifted the telephone mast, and helicopters turned up for some reason, and he doesn't know why. Now, do you think that this energy can be tracked or sensed in some way?
Yeah, I've often wondered that. Sorry, truth, Alan. I've often wondered that. Do they have these sensors on board on these helicopters? But there's so many people mention it, and I've had them, above my workshops. But then again, that's not really. I wouldn't say it would prove anything to me. I'm a very cynical person, Alan. Believe it or not, I really am cynical about most things. I have to really prove things before I take it on board. That's all. Yes, I'm sure there's some truth in it. Don Croft said it himself. That he used to have them regularly. When he's making Orgone. And there's a few people I know, like Harry, your friend, my friend, and there's quite a few people who witnessed these helicopters. So, but my main question is, being a cynical nature, how have they got the technology for that? So I've always been a bit dubious about that.
Well, you never know. We don't know what they have. I mean, we know there's advanced technology that they have, now whether it's passed down to different departments, and why would they send out a helicopter just for somebody, putting an orgonite stone, a telephone mast, unless there's something more sinister going on. Now, we do know that the telephone masts are going to be used, the Gwen towers are going to be used to roll out and control people, and people have had cancers and all that. So, excuse me, I think it's important that I reckon they know more about the benefit of this technology than what they're actually saying or admitting to. I know Harry knows about the translators. I've had the translator running yesterday, and I had the translator running today, because I'm now part of Harry's team, and we deploy the translators. Now, we know there's a big cold spell coming in, and I'm not too sure what the effect is going to be, but we get our instructions to deploy, and we deploy. So we'll be curious to see what happens over the next few days, or what Harry's plan of attack is, or what the team's plan of attack is. So they're obviously, with the likes of translators and the energy that uses, and Wilhelm Reich and the study of that, plus what you're doing, there's obviously so much stuff that we're just not aware of. And maybe that's they know, and they don't like people knowing about it.
Well, I'm speculating now. Obviously, I have no proof of this, but I think, why they know and why they turn up over workshops of people who have done these these cloud busters and Orgone energy, is that I reckon it affects their dials.
It could do.
I have noticed that. I've had one or two things happen to me that way, with tape recordings and things like that, measuring equipment, and it has been directly linked to the actual Orgone device, and once it's been moved, it's been fine again.
Well, because
I'm just trying to be rational there.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I mean, I have heard people using shungite and putting them on routers, internet routers, and actually damaging them, like, permanently. And we did an experiment with a shungite, a piece of shungite with a lady that we were on a course with, a Pain Genie course. And I have on my phone a piece of demo software which allows you to scan the RFID on a credit card just to demo, to show people that it can be done. So we actually demoed, we got the mobile phone, we did the scan, and we could read the card. And then the lady put the shungite on the phone, and then we tried to scan the card again, and it wouldn't scan. And when we took the shungite off the phone, it scanned again. So obviously, the energy between shungite and orgone and stuff like that is obviously having an effect on the frequencies.
It's amazing, Alan. There's a lot of things, because we can't see these energies and we just dismiss them. And, we just try and be, rational and we dismiss them.
Yeah.
And we pay no attention. We can't see it, so it doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't exist.
And
I remember myself laughing at orgone energy before I got into it. And I'll tell you one thing, Alan, there's certain things I could not say on air to you. It's absolutely mind-blowing. It really is mind-blowing. With this connection with the quantum.
Yeah.
With the actual quartz. I mean, orgone's one thing, but when you start mixing, a quartz crystal in it, you are in touch with the cosmic. You can call it what you like, the Godhead, the other side, the quantum, whatever you think, whatever you call it. But when you start putting quartz crystal in it and certain gemstones and, like you say, shungite, you got to do some testing to actually prove it to yourself, and it's absolutely amazing. And me myself, it's reiterated to me, even though I had a crystal collection at 12 years old. I got guided to a teacher. He was a medium, and he introduced me to my guides. Cut a long story short, one of my guides, the twins they are, one of my guides said to me, get this stone. And he didn't know what the stone was. And he said, it's a green coloured with red flecks. It was bloodstone. But the thing was, I walked away from that situation, and about a year afterwards, or years on, I thought, well, these beings, interdimensional beings, from the other side, told me to get this stone. It just can't be all there's got to be something in it.
Yeah. Well, no, look, I mean, maybe...
There's a lot of energies there.
Yeah, maybe the quartz crystals or the crystals are acting to boost the transmission of the frequencies that are there in the orgone, in the other parts of the pyramid, and it acts like a transmitter.
Yes. That's what I do, yeah. I actually get the main crystal. I have 5 crystals in my pieces, in my pyramids. And the main central quartz is in contact with the frequencies of the actual gemstones and crystals. Yeah. So this will act as an amplification of it.
Yeah, it's like a booster. Okay, I'm just going to bring Steve in there. Steve.
Yes. I'm sitting here and I'm listening, and there are a lot of questions, and I know some people who are probably listening, and they're probably concerned as regards, because we all know the power of crystals, and if we don't, then for someone who wants to do a transmission, the most important part of a radio transmitter is a crystal, because a crystal, once it's cut and it's manipulated a certain way, it gives you the frequency and all that sort of stuff. So if people, and I went into a crystal shop a couple of years ago, Vincent, and I just wanted to, I just felt it was time to just have a couple of crystals, because it was around the time Alan and I were gifted some of the Orgone cakes, the little, it looks like a little fairy cake, and we were gifted some of those, so we wanted to learn more. So I went into a crystal shop and I said to the lady, I want a crystal, but I don't know what to go for. And she says, well, what do you want it for? And I says, well, just, something that will just kind of make me, bring me some happiness or something. And she said, well, just go over there. There's some crystals over there. spend some time with the crystals and just move your hand over and said, you won't pick the crystal, the crystal will pick you. So I done that, and I'm holding it here in my hand actually, a little quartz crystal that I have, and it picked me, I didn't pick it. But for people who, let's say for argument's sake, they didn't pick their own crystal, but they bought one online, or they bought something online that contained a crystal or any other gemstone, and the fact that they do have powers, and especially the quartz crystal, it can amplify things. If people were to use one of these crystals, or let's say one of the devices that have a crystal in it, could they be amplifying something negative? As in, let's say for argument's sake, if they had a disease, a cancer or something, could it amplify the disease and make it worse, or could it amplify negative energy?
No, there's no crystal there or gemstone, to my knowledge, which has a negative effect. I don't know of one. All of them have beneficial effects. So yeah, I think that answers that one. Yeah.
No, that's good. I'm glad to know that, because there's no
gemstone there which brings bad luck or anything. No.
Yeah.
There is such thing as cursed gemstones and diamonds, but that's a different because it's a slightly tangent topic, perhaps.
Right, and what about now the captain on People's Internet Radio? He's wondering how much actual orgone are there in your pieces that you make?
Orgone, well, the actual size of them, the large ones are about 6-inch base, 150 mil base, by over 4 inches, over 100 mil height. Obviously, I've left space at the top for the actual main quartz. So there's a gap in there.
Yeah.
Some people go off weight. I've had some customers ask me, "What's the weight?" And that all depends what metals you're using. And
yeah.
I do use lots of metals in mine. Usually about 7, and sometimes more. So look, it's only a guideline, the actual weight and everything. It's only a guideline. I like aluminium myself. It's a good. I love it. I love magnesium.
Yeah.
And they happen to be very lightweight, metals.
And what about the size, Vincent? I mean, the way some people say bigger is better. Could you get the same energy field or whatever you're getting from a smaller piece as you would from a bigger piece?
Fundamentally, rule of thumb, size counts basically. Yeah.
Oh well, so it is true.
With the actual.
So it is true, Vincent. Size matters then, does it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
It's how you use it. The size is not the size.
That as well. Yeah. There is technique involved. But fundamentally, size, is everything really. Yeah. But then again, misdirected size, then. Somebody who knows what they're doing it's possible to make one half the size and make it just as painful as something at twice the size. So, but the rule of thumb, size does count, yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah,
and we actually heard before, and I know, I think Alan, I think you've done this. For protection, some people use some of the pieces for protection, and some people might have one, and they'll buy one piece and they'll stick it on a mantelpiece and they'll leave it there, and then they'll say, "Oh, that thing is useless. It doesn't work." Some people will buy maybe 2 or 3 or 4 and put them in for the 4 corners of their home. But like with shungite, we heard with shungite, and I got this information from one of the girls. She was a Russian lady over in the. I can't even pronounce Carly, I think is the name of the place where they actually sell the shungite. And she said to me that it's not enough having the piece. You have to recharge it every now and again. You have to, I think she said, salt water and leave it out in the sunshine to recharge. Are your pieces the same? Do they just sit on the mantelpiece and that's it, job done? Or is there a way of actually recharging them or re-energizing them?
Well, there's a lot of things going out, going about the crystals and that, and I wouldn't say I agree with, all of them, to tell you the truth. I mean, like shungite, for health reasons, if you putting that into water to actually drink the water, that could only be used a certain amount of time. But the actual properties of absorbing negative energies, that would be always there, because the frequency of shungite will always be there. That will never be diminished.
Yeah, but that's
if you're drawing the properties from the shungite with water, which leaks into the water, then that's different. There will be like a certain amount of times you can use it before it starts leaching into the water. But you'll never, you cannot change the frequency of shungite. It always will have them properties, in my books anyway, in my opinion.
Yeah, because that's what the girl, she did say to me, that the shungite itself, after you've used it for like if you have it sitting beside a router, it will absorb all the negative energy. But she says after a point, it does kind of become saturated, and she said it can actually instead of absorbing the energy, it can start pushing the energy back out, and that's why she said every so often, I think she said maybe once every couple of weeks, just wash it in kind of mineralized or salt water, and then leave it out to absorb some energy from the sun.
In context of what you've just said, yes, I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah, that would be, yeah.
Okay, right. Sorry, I'll just pull back there on the thing. I was overdriving the microphone. Is that any better, Alan?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's just a little bit too hot there, but that's cool. No problem at all. You have more questions there, Steve, on PIR?
Okay. Well, I'll get to them now in a second. I just have a comment here from Joan. Joan was actually gifted a crystal some time ago, and it says, the crystal I was given has helped me in moments of sadness, and when the sun hits, it lights up the room. It makes me feel very safe. My cat is always placing his face to it for long times. So a lot of people have actually we have heard before, people have had great benefits from crystals and also from the shungite as well. Where are we now? Question time on PIR. Yes, the captain says, but how much argon? This is the captain who asked how much argon was actually in the piece. But how much argon / orgonite is in his pieces, and what colour is it?
The colour are different colours. I do fundamentally six different pyramids for 6 different ailments, so to speak, and they're all different colours basically. If that answers that one, it's a very quick answer to it.
Okay. Sam has had a question there as well about the device filling up with bad energy. You've actually answered that one anyway. We've technically both answered, I suppose, in relation to giving it a bath in kind of a salt water and placing it in to absorb some sunshine. That's what I was told, Sam. That's how to actually recharge the shungite. Now, whether it's the same for the rest of the things like argon, orgonite, I don't know. But definitely with the shungite anyway. Hopefully that answers that question. I
was going to say, Steve, if people buy a pyramid off you there, Vincent, will you give them a sheet of instructions of what to do and how to do it, so they know some kind of guidelines? Because not everybody would probably know about, if it's absorbing negative energies, that you have to kind of bring it out and clean it and put it in the sun for recharging.
Yeah, well, but all this is explained on the website, to tell you the truth. I've had to take the website off air, so to speak, recently, because I'm doing updates to 2 workshops. So, I unfortunately, when I do take a small break, which is very, very rare, I just end up with a crazy list of orders, and obviously, that leads to disappointed customers. So the only option I have, and I'm sure there might be another way around it, but it's just to take it off air completely, so to speak, off the actual internet.
Yeah, because I went to go and access your website today to have a look, and it was just not available.
Yes.
And and normally you'd have, say, website under maintenance, come back shortly, but it was as if it was completely gone.
Yeah. I was trying to work out, to tell you the truth, how I could get the actual a short way of not allowing people to make orders. And I couldn't really work it out what a short way would be.
Okay.
I could think of a long way to do it.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm not going to take any risks here. I'm going to just shut it down for a couple of weeks and get on with this business, what I've got to do with updates. And it's not only the workshops as well, my office is being done and everything, and updating computers and things. So I'm taking a holiday. It was a bit of a busman's holiday, to tell you the truth.
Oh, yeah. And obviously you're still carrying on doing the work. But listen, just on the sideline, if you want to give myself or Steve a ring about that, we might be able to help you with that regarding the website there. So we'll touch base with you on that.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, we might be able to,
thank you.
be able to help you with
much appreciated.
that. Because that's something that myself and Steve are involved in. So we might be able to help you out with that. But there you go. So the great thing is, it's just a pity that your website's down, because people would have seen the colours, how vibrant the colours were with the pyramids and the pendants. And I know, does Harry make them, or does Harry get his stuff off you?
I do believe Harry's making his own stuff now. He makes the muffin-sized tail busters, and he showed me some pendants which he made the other week, which are quite nice. Harry, I saw Harry last summer, and we had a very good chat in the summertime, and we exchanged products, and he gave me a translator, and I gave him a large heart pyramid.
Brilliant. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, carry on, Ellen. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great, because I was going to say, are you using the translator? Obviously, are you on the group as well, and do you deploy when you have time? Yeah. Okay.
Well, unfortunately, though, I've been so busy. I've been, so busy. I've not had a chance to even pick it up, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I really haven't. Well, obviously, I've had a look at it and that, and I've had a little play around with it, but it's much too busy, to tell you the truth. I'm actually training the assistant up at the moment, because I did have an assistant leave, and it's not a job, really. I mean, firstly, I only have people who are psychic work for me, who make my products, who help me to make the products, and to find a psychic it can be quite rare. To find somebody who's looking for work and wants to help and contribute, it can be a can of worms sometimes.
Yeah. No.
And a very long course of training as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you're going to be tuning in to try and get them, I mean, there's other people, as I say, on the internet who will just make them and not put in as much energy and effort and knowledge into making the pyramids and the pendants. Yes. So you have to make sure that if you are going out to buy some, that you do your research. And when do you think your website's going to be back up, Vincent?
It'll be up in 7 days, approximately. Okay. Sometime next week.
Okay. So, so just to let our listeners know.
There's a glimpse, though. If you go to my Facebook page, again, it's called Orgone UK, you will see some of my products there. There may be discontinued products, but give people a flavour of what I do, and I created the actual Facebook page so I can talk off the record about things.
Yeah, okay.
So I know some great stories, and I could never put them on my website for ethical reasons, professional reasons.
Yeah.
I couldn't say that on my website. I wouldn't like to say that.
It's kind of like...
Especially with sensitive issues like, illnesses and cancers and things like that. It's something which I wouldn't want to do for ethical reasons,
Yeah.
Plus with the Facebook page, I can speak a bit more freely and off the record, so to speak.
Plus the fact that you don't want to be saying anything like the word cure, because you have to have a license, apparently, to say that,
There's a lot of trauma in cancer, watching a loved one die, and, I wouldn't entertain that. I wouldn't entertain it, no, for ethical reasons, no.
And do you have any pyramids or pendants that people can buy to actually protect themselves, or to send in energy to try and, keep that at bay as much as we can? Because they're saying now 1 in 2 people will get cancer sometime in their life. Now, obviously our bodies get cancer all the time and our bodies fight it. But for some people, it's kind of stays, and then they get offered the chemo or the radiotherapy, which is, chemo was another name for mustard gas. But, so do you have pyramids that would actually help people with that?
Specifically for cancer, I'd have to say no. I do have a pyramid which would very much help, which would be the home guard, which I passed on to a good friend of mine. As I say, I've got to be watch what I'm saying now, but I had some great news from well, basically her mother died from cancer and she caught it. That was brought up right by a substation down the road from where I live, apparently.
Okay.
And it claimed out of a row of 15 houses, there was 10 cancer patients in that row.
Wow.
And it claimed, one of them was her mother, and she contracted it. She moved away. She had cancer and that, and that's some great news. I'm not saying it's associated with the orgone. I'm not going to do that for ethical reasons, but she had the all clear, and the doctor said it's all clear. You've got no trace of it whatsoever in your system, and you're just as likely to catch it as anybody else now.
Right. Okay. So that's good. Well, yeah, we're moving away. Well,
it's a positive thing. Yeah.
This is why this guy Colin was going around Ireland and he was gifting the mobile phone mast because he was changing the energy on the mast. And I don't know whether that's something that you've done or you've come across or you think it works.
Yes. Well, that's what I've done there, Alan. This station, this power station down the road from me, which I told you about that row of houses, how many victims it had. I started gifting that, and that's why I invented the home guard pyramid. And it's all lower frequencies to counteract the EMFs. There's all stones there and gemstones of lower frequency to, as I said, counteract it. And there's a little story to this. It's a very interesting story on about the frequencies and the healing of frequencies. I noticed that all these stones and gemstones and crystals I was using in the home guard pyramid, well, apparently it was all renowned for thousands of years, for protection in battle and things like that, protection against this, protection against that. I'll give you a couple of examples, like hermatites. They used to rub it on their bodies before battle. They used to put red jasper on their shields and armour and swords for protection. And a lot of other gemstones have done that with. And there's a lot of gemstones in that pyramid as well, which I thought low frequency gemstones and crystals, which were renowned for warding off evil spirits. So I thought, all right, then I'll give this a test. And I've spent 5 years of experimenting. I've just finished 5 years of experimenting, and I've come across a schizophrenic patient, and I thought I've got to try this out. And I give him this pyramid. Said, what's it going to do? It'll make you feel good. I'll come back in 6 weeks. He took it home. I've got a very long story short here. He come back to me. I mean, how's it things? Oh, great and everything. Yeah. And I thought, well, do you still get the voices in your head and everything? He went, oh, yeah. And I left it alone for a bit. But hours afterwards, he said, only in the kitchen. What do you mean, in the kitchen, Ray? His name was Ray. He went, well, I don't have it in the living room anymore. I mean, is that where the pyramid is? He went, yes. I don't have voices around that pyramid. Which is quite an unusual thing. To me, it was amazing. I was quite gobsmacked with that.
That's incredible. We do have a question here from one of our long-time listeners and supporters, Dougie, and he said, have you ever used? Let me just get the question. Have you ever used Anderus, which are more powerful than crystals? Have you ever? Anderus, which they seem to be more powerful than crystals.
I'm not too familiar with that, to tell you the truth. And is that a crystal? Is that a quartz or is it a gemstone or something?
I'm not too sure. It's Andaras, Anderus, which he said seem to be more powerful than crystals. So
just ring a bell. Now you spelled it. I'm not too familiar, so I wouldn't really comment about that. But it's something I will look into.
Yeah, okay. Because Dougie's a long-time listener, and He just sent in the email there with a query. So, yeah, that might be something to look into. Steve, you've got more questions there in PIR from the captain if you want to come in.
I do indeed, yeah. The captain has a follow-up question, Vincent, and he said he still hasn't answered the question. I want to know what Orgonite is. I've got a 10-pointed star Orgonite, but I cannot see any Orgone in it. I can see plenty of scraps of metal and bits of plastic, but no Orgonite. I want to know what to look for. Before you answer that, Vincent, actually, that is quite a good. It's an interesting question, because my understanding was that Orgone or Orgonite wasn't actually anything at all. It was when you combine certain metals, that's when it becomes Orgone/Orgonite. But if you could take that and maybe educate the whole lot of us here, that would be fantastic.
No, Orgone is a composite of inorganic and organic materials. Organic materials attract and hold energy. Inorganic reflect energy, which is the metal. So in the matrix, in the composites of Orgone, let's say metal shavings with a polyester resin, polyurethane resin, what it will do, the molecules are, the metal's pushing it out, but the resin is attracting it. So there's a tug and war going on, which is pushing and pulling on the particles and molecules. And that produces Orgone. Just like the composite of it.
So there's the science. And you said, Vincent, your background was geology, or you did some studying or training in it?
Oh, that's very early age. In all honesty, over 40 years, I've been trying to... I've had just an healthy interest into this unseen energies. And there's nothing more than that. I'm not trying to, glamatise it. I just love reading books from an early age about these unseen forces.
Yeah, so that's...
trying to work it out. And I'm proving it wrong as well, because I'm very cynical. Every book I used to read, I used to think, this author's just con me out £15. In the 70s and 80s, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So yeah. I made a rule of practicing every book I read and trying to prove it wrong. And I'll still do that now to this day.
Well, look, it's good to be sceptical and, open-minded skeptic, as we say. The whole idea with the... we have a question here that Dougie is logged in there, and he just said, here's the info about Anderis. Anderis are bioelectric transmitters allowing interdimensional communication with star realms not from this galaxy. Some are found in the Earth, known as the crystals of the Masters. Their origins are... I don't know if you see my message here, the crystals. Okay, so we're just waiting for the origins. But, so there you go. That's what Anderis is, a bioelectric transmitters allowing interdimensional communication with star realms not from the galaxy.
So is that an actual scientific setup, some kind of device, or is it like a gemstone or a crystal? It is a crystal. Did they say it's a crystal?
Yeah, it's a crystal.
Is it manufactured in some kind of lab? That's what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, we can ask Dougie, because he's working at the moment, so he can't he can't stay on for long. But yeah, we can get some information and send it over to you, Vincent, because it seems that seems quite interesting, and apparently they're stronger than crystals.
I'll come back to you on that, on site and everything. I'll get in touch with you after the show on that, because I'm very open-minded, but on about interdimensional capabilities, look no further than the courts.
Yeah,
I'll say no more.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. It's almost a direct hotline to. I'm not a religious guy, but it's like having a hotline to God Himself, or itself.
Yeah.
It's the cosmos, the vibration rate of the quartz, is so high. It's 786,000 pulses per millisecond. I mean, you can't really fathom that. It's the pulsing, per millisecond.
Yeah.
The 786,000 pulses per millisecond is phenomenal.
Well, it all goes back.
And hence, as we all know, vibration rates determine the actual dimension.
Yeah.
once you get into a certain vibration rate, you enter the next dimension, or to the spiritual people, the spirit world.
Well, we talked about last week, we were talking about the new earth and the frequency of the new earth. Are you familiar with that at all?
The new earth, I've never heard that term, Nigel, or expression, new earth.
Okay, because we were talking about it because Dolores Cannon, who's a regressional hypnotherapist, has regressed loads of people, and we had Alba Wyman on, who's also a regressional hypnotherapist.
That rings a bell, yeah.
And they've tapped into the kind of superconscious of people and the spirit guides, and they're saying that this new earth is coming in to phase. It's coming in as a frequency. And if people are on the right frequency, then they will transition. And for the people who are not on the right frequency, the kind of negative side, they'll kind of stay on this earth, and they'll stay in the plateau in which their energy vibrates. So they'll be with everybody else who are of negative energies, And I was just wondering if you've come across this in your travels.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. That's always been the fundamental rule. That's always been the fundamental rule, the vibration rate. That's what it is. That's why you have these Tibetan monks, and these yogis in India, and many other people, who actually who train to increase their vibration rate. Mm. And I've actually done it myself, even though I'm slightly gifted, we've been in touch as being slightly psychic, when you start doing that, your psychic ability goes through the roof. And going back to what you were saying, that you can't come back to this earth on a high vibration rate. It's not compatible. You can come back, but it's voluntary.
Yeah.
But, what she's saying, and that's always been the way, I think. That's why these yogis and that, and these people who meditate, they do for one reason, is to transcend the vibrational rate into Godhead.
Yeah, well,
want of a better word. There's many words for it, but I'll use Godhead.
Well, last week we had a guest on called Greg Canton, and he is based in Ecuador, and he kind of hangs out with the indigenous tribes down there, and he's done the ayahuasca on numerous occasions, 300 times he's done it, and he said he's been to the New Earth, and he said when he had to come back, he was feeling depressed and down because he knew what he was coming back to. And he said it's just phenomenal, the New Earth. And there's a lot of talk about it as to, is it there? Is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Again, you have to be skeptic and say, well, look, well, if it happens, it happens. But people are reporting that there's portals open up and they're going through the portals, going over to this New Earth, and it's of a higher energy, higher vibration. And just things are happening, at the moment on the Earth. And we had Thomas Williams on, who was saying about the rods being placed around the planet to stop this swishing that was predicted to happen. The pole shift, and then all the water would be swished like a bat full of water, and all the flooding, and that's been all slowed down now with these rods that have been put in the planet. And I don't know whether you've come across any of that.
Not the rods, no, but I've grasped fully what you're saying before. That's about the vibration rates and that, But I've never heard about rods and that, and what they're doing there. But the human frequency of the planet Earth, Mother Earth, is steadily rising. Yeah. Yeah, as you know, it has been rising, over the last few, it's risen quite a lot, for over the last few years.
Well, I have a challenge for you, Vincent. Right?
Yep.
The challenge is, for you, if you want to take this on, I know you're very busy, but you can keep it in the back of your mind, right? All this talk about the vibrational rate for the New Earth, what would be the possibility of, if you did your research and you could find out what that vibrational rate is, and you could do a pyramid on that frequency for people so they could help tune to the New Earth?
I do one already. It's called the quantum pyramid. And that would, you've got to interact with it. These Tibetan monks, the power that they have with the chi energy and that, even they have to practice and have some discipline. Yeah. And if I'm grasping fully where the person is coming from, is asking this question and that, That's the fundamental. Everything is vibration rates, everything. And, the next dimension, you can obtain now on Earth. And one of the names is called Kundalini, which I experienced through Krishna consciousness myself. And it's basically just tuning up your chakras, being a very humble person with a lot of humility.
Yeah.
Being real and honest to yourself.
Yeah.
And then working your way up from the base chakra and going to the crown chakra. And then when you tap into that, then I'll give you an example. When I first done it, I spent months and months in Kundalini state, and it was a state of bliss. I was at one with the great Godhead. There was no past, there was no future. It was just me. I just felt I was like a spider on the spider's web, or the cosmic spider's web. I felt every vibration. If somebody was calling out of the house, I knew there was calling. If something was going to happen, I knew this was going to happen. If I asked a question, the answer would come before the question.
Okay.
It's a very. There's quite a few people have experienced the Kundalini, and I think they'll all say the same thing. It's being as one with the Godhead, the great. For want of a better word, I say Godhead because I come from a spiritual background, but I've also had a healthy interest in physics. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. We have more questions for you. Just very quickly, Dougie had to go, but he did come on the chat room and said that the Andreas, they are it's a natural crystal but more powerful. And he said that if you want the source of these crystals, he can let us know he can pass on the information to you.
I'd be very much interested in that. Very much. Yeah, very much.
Brilliant. Okay, well, we'll touch base with Dougie and we'll get that information for you, Vincent. Steve, you got questions there?
That's right.
Yeah, there's a link actually there. There is a link in the chat room. Who put up the link? Dave. Yeah, thanks, Dave. Dave put a link up there to a website there, Doorways to Power, the keys within, and it's all about these particular crystals. It says there, monatomic Andara crystal glass. A lot of good information there. And I tell you, when you actually see the prices, and they're in dollars, some of them are beyond the reach of mere mortals, and some of them are quite cheap actually. But anyway, we do have a couple of questions. Joan was wondering earlier, Vincent, in relation when we talked about kind of re-energizing crystals. Joan was wondering about cleaning crystals. Is there any particular way, or when should one clean crystals, like day or nighttime cleaning? Because we did actually hear that before. Someone said that if you're going to clean your crystal, it's best to do it when it's a full moon out. Now, I don't know if that makes any sense or if that's even true, but what are your thoughts? What would you say to Joan about cleaning her crystals?
Well, fundamentally, I think it would work. If you're just cleansing crystals, it would work anyway, regardless of the moon cycles. Although the moon cycles are very important, obviously. Excuse me. And but basically what I do, I just soak them in salty water, sea salt water. You can't bury them into the ground, and bury them for 24 hours and cleanse them that way. So yeah, fundamentally, it would work still.
Okay.
Obviously, if he was charging the crystal, then the lunar cycle would be very, that would be very good to use with it.
Right, okay. And Moon Girl on PIR, she has a question. And I think this is to do with a song. I just looked it up very quickly to see what it was, and it appears to be music. So it's a song. I don't know what about it, but she wants to know, do you happen to like Hawkwind? I guess that's the name of the band, and the song is called Orgone Accumulator.
I've never heard of that one. I've never heard of that track.
Neither did I.
I might go on YouTube later and try and look that up.
That could be
Orgone Accumulator.
That could be your theme song. Your theme song, yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Steve.
I like that. So I didn't know. Yeah.
News to us too. Question-wise, I think that's it. Yeah, no other questions on Well, there's no other questions that I can see so far. No, I think we're all good at the moment.
Okay.
Great information, I have to say. Very interesting, because we've had people on before talking about similar things in the Orgone and the Shungite as well. And I have to say, you've given kind of an honest overview of the product and of the technology, and I just want to say thanks for that anyway.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you both for having me on.
Yeah, that's no problem. Well, we have a few minutes left, so we'll get talking and talk a bit more about the crystals and stuff. And I think your approach is right regarding being an open-minded skeptic, and you want to prove it approach, which is the best way. And if people are a bit skeptic about the pyramids and the actual pendants, well, contact Vincent through the Facebook page for now, because the website's down, but it'll be back up in 7 days. And get a small, maybe a pendant, something that's not too expensive. Maybe start off with that, and then work your way up and see how you get on. Probably that would be the best way to do it.
Yeah, honestly, look, and I mean, I do. I know a lot of people won't believe this. I've done this for spiritual reasons. This is done in cooperation with my guides to do this work. I cut that dead there, so to speak. It's a long story. But I'll go one further than that. Don't buy anything expensive. Buy the cheapest product there is, Orgone Energy. Make sure it's got crystal in, and see how you get on with it.
And obviously, we're going to have to talk about money with this, because we know money's tight for a lot of people with recession and everything else.
Yes.
I mean, how do you fare off with your products? Are they priced competitively, or,
Yeah, I think they are priced competitively. Considering to what I've seen with other outlets, you'd probably know yourself, if you've been flicking through for Orgone pyramids, you'll see, let's say, for example, my one, which is a 6-inch base, 150mm base. I've seen them advertised, and it's terrible. I feel very sad, that it happens. I've seen them, actually asking £500.
Oh God!
And it saddens me. It really does. Being of a Buddhist nature, it just saddens me. You should be there for humanity, and you should make them as affordable as possible.
That's it, and that's kind of the way we see things. And it's always no harm making a little bit of a profit. 10% or whatever, something like that. On the products, because you do put the work in, and you do put the effort in. It's all that research and everything that you do, and the energy that you put into it.
But it's over 3 days in production. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's understandable, but when people are making them, like 100% markup or something, it's just a bit too much, I look forward to seeing your website when you get it back up and running, because I have seen Harry sent over pictures of what they look like, and they really do look smashing. I mean, even from a cosmetic point of view, they look lovely, but the fact that they're not just ornaments or paperweights, they're going to be used, and they can have an effect on the energy around the house. And as Steve said earlier on, and I think it's a good idea for people as well, is to, if you have the money, get a small pyramid or wherever you want to get, wherever you can afford, and put one in each corner of the house, just for the energy.
I would say I've got to go one further. Just get yourself a tower buster. One tower buster. That's all.
And what would you recommend?
I know people.
Okay.
I know people, and I've not really tested this, but I've passed on very, very small pieces to people who've been psychic. And I'm talking a piece, I'm trying to put it into context. Let's say half the size of a cigar, so to speak, a very small amount.
Yeah.
And they haven't looked back to this day. They want for nothing.
Fantastic. And what would you suggest to people?
I'll tell everybody out there, and the results can be achieved by small pieces. Yeah.
And what would you suggest to people that are, say, surrounded by Wi-Fi, wireless, mobile phone masts? What item would you recommend that they buy?
Well, all organs, does counteract EMFs, but some more than most. As you said before, there's a lot of people do it as a hobby, and they just put the bare necessities in there of metals and the actual resin. and they won't even bother with a crystal. They won't bother with anything to do with the actual, like shungite and things like that. They won't even go into that kind of, realm, so to speak. So there is good and bad ones. Like, it's, obviously, it's good to have all these, lower frequency gemstones and composites in there to counteract the EMFs and that.
Okay, so could somebody ring you up, Vincent, and say, right, I think we mentioned it earlier in the show, but like if I said to you, Vincent, there's this frequency that's in the local area and I want this neutralized, can you make a pyramid for that particular frequency if I give you that frequency?
I believe I could. Yeah. And if they want to get in touch with me, I will be switching the website back on air next week. And if they want to contact me on my Facebook page, Orgone UK, and I will give them my phone number, and we can have a chat and we can go from there.
Okay. And is there any meters or anything that you can get to see this energy? Is that like I know there's EMF meters they use in ghost busting.
To actually see the energy, well, the cheapest thing you can do, because I'm due to splash out on some curling a camera, so I can show these on site of the energies. And Harry Oldfield, he does a pit machine. I don't know if you know about Harry Oldfield. Yeah,
Harry Oldfield does the Kirlian photography, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, it's like an offshoot from the Kirlian photography, which is he calls a PIP. PIP machine or PIP computer or whatever, and there is that. But obviously, when I started out, I couldn't afford that, And it's a lot of money to prove something which you already know. But just get a glass of water, get the Orgone product, fill the glass of water up, and put the Orgone product underneath the actual glass of water.
Yeah.
Or boil a glass of water. And watch what happens to that water. It will freeze the vortex, the energy. And it's just as good as Kirlian photography, because it will capture the actual force of what's being released from the actual piece.
And you'll see it in the water?
Yes, you'll see that, yeah. There's a lot of people go on about, look, it should be spiky ball. But I've noticed, when I first started making them, it was a spiky ball. But now it goes into a vortex. It's still got the spikes there. But it's like a tornado vortex. Mm. And even though you put your glass straight, filled with water, the vortex increases it on one side. So the water's uneven, and it'll rise about half-inch on one side.
Wow.
It's a great way of capturing. It's a great way, if you can't afford Kirlian photography, of capturing the actual energy and seeing it for yourself.
That would be great to have on video, to see that as evidence. That would be brilliant.
I've got photographs, I could show you on that, I'm due to put them up on the actual website. It's just something I've never got round to tell you the truth.
Well, that'd be great if you do that. That'd be great if you put them on the website and people pop over.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Vincent, we've reached that time. A big thank you for coming on to the show. There's great information there to learn about Orgone energy and what you're doing and helping the planet and helping people. We love people like yourself that do that. All about humanity. It's all about service to others and helping each other. And it's brilliant work. I'm going to pass you over to Steve. Steve's going to get all your contact details where people can find you. And thanks for coming on. Steve.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you for having me. And thank you, Steve. It's been a pleasure. We'll just scrape the surface. Unfortunately, I could go on about this for another 8 hours. And still scrape the surface.
We know there's so much information and so many avenues that we haven't even delved into, and so many issues and problems, and also stories as well, like where people can.
There's so many relationships to this energy. You see, this energy is related to so many things. What you read in these old books, of India and China, it's all related.
It is. Hardy, we do have the address for the website, and again, that's going to be back online very soon. It's orgoneuk.com, so anyone who wants to check that out can go and check it out.
We also,
within a week. If they want to find out, just kind of touch base with you and maybe just communicate with you on a one-to-one basis, obviously you can hook on to the Facebook page, which is obviously Orgone UK as well. Are there any other links? You mentioned the YouTube channel. Do you have a YouTube channel up and running, or are there any other links that you want to throw out?
No, I don't at all. No. I mean, I was thinking about, like, getting a few things on YouTube, but there's quite a sceptical lot on YouTube. Look, I've been doing the trick from an early age of moving a piece of paper from a distance, but there's always somebody there. But if you make a video of it, saying, "Oh, he's blown that," or somebody's moved, he's got a piece of string on it, and things like that. So I've refrained from doing it. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, no, we understand, but again, people that know you and know that you have the ability, then they'll know it's genuine, But listen, Vincent, we're going to let you go. Just stay with us there for a minute. We have another guest to come on there later, so just stay with us there for a minute. We're just going to go off to musical break, and we'll be back after this.
This is Open Your Mind Radio on OYMradio.com and peoplesinternetradio.com.
Okay, we're back. Great information from Vincent there, all about Orgone and UK. I look forward to seeing the website. I have seen the pyramids, and he's done independent, and they are gorgeous, folks. So when the website's back up and running, happy days. Right, our next guest is a lady called Tracey Boland, and Tracey's going to be doing a talk, I believe, down in the Open Mind Conference, as far as I know. But we'll get Tracey on, and we'll find out a bit about Tracey and her background. Good evening, Tracey. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you? I'm doing well, thanks.
Good stuff. Well, am I right to say, are you doing a talk, or are you just doing yoga, or?
I'm not doing a talk, not at the moment, but you never know now with this weather change. Everything could change, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could do. No, definitely.
I might have to fill in somebody's speech.
Yeah,
but I'm prepared for anything. But what I am there to do is I'm there to do yoga in the mornings, on the Saturday and the Sunday morning.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd like a little introduction to yoga, so it's nothing to be afraid of.
Right.
Easy peasy.
And I take it that's in a different room to where the conference is going to be.
No, it's going to be in the main room, but we're going to be, super early before the day starts. I'll be starting at 8:15 on both mornings until 9:15. So just half an hour.
Okay, what do you need to tell people? Are you going to do the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or which days?
Just the Saturday and the Sunday morning.
Okay.
Yeah, the Saturday and the Sunday morning.
Okay, and for people listening to the show who are going to be there, what time do they need to be down to you to start the yoga?
They can come down any time from 8 o'clock. I'll be there setting up the room anyway, so I'll probably be there from about 7:30 in the morning. So anyone's welcome to come, or if they have any questions or they have any queries or anything about what yoga is or what it could do for them. I'm, they're very available. But do come along if, probably about 5 or 10 minutes before, so that'd be fine. And if you just wear comfortable clothing and come in your pajamas if you want to.
Brilliant. Oh no, there's a lot of mothers doing that in Dublin already, I believe, walking around going to school with the pajamas. You don't want to start that craze off again. Now, tell us all about yoga, because I have seen, I'll tell you, I watched the video there a while ago, last year, and this guy could barely walk. And then just kind of fast forward after he's done a lot of training in yoga and doing yoga, and a few months later he's running down the road without any support or crutches or walking stick. And it's all about, as far as I know, posture and certain positions. Now, tell us about why it's so beneficial for our bodies and for us.
Okay, well, I suppose not a dissimilar story to my own. I've been doing yoga for over 20 years, but about 7 years ago, I had a very bad accident and basically ended up in the mater for about 3 months and was told that I'd have to get an operation on my back. And alternatively, he gave me the route. He said, look, seeing as you're into what you're into, you could go down the route of rehabilitation through yoga and movement and that kind of thing. He said, but Tracey, it's going to be a long time, but it is a way. And that's the route that I took. So I have personal experience of it being a rehabilitative practice as well. why it's super beneficial. It's because yoga means, in Sanskrit, it means, the union, the togetherness of the breath and the body. And if we don't connect the breath and the body, there's a disconnection. And when we begin to move in yoga, in any of the yoga movements, we begin to connect that, and that's reconnecting to ourselves, which is essentially, we can be fully present in our own bodies if we use our breath. And that's very simply what yoga is. The healing process goes on because we allow that stillness and we allow that calmness to come in, that it's not vigorous, it's not about achieving a headstand or twisting into a pretzel. It's about achieving the recognition and awareness of our own breath and allow ourselves to heal, because we are our own healers. And when we follow a practice, we can dedicate a lot of time to ourselves, and take responsibility for ourselves, as opposed to popping pills and going, a pill will take away the symptom for a little bit, but when you get into practice of yoga, it allows you for this to become part of your lifestyle and get to the actual cause of what's going on. And that needs to be healed,
And there's been some great stories. Another one comes to mind of an elderly lady who had osteoporosis, and you could see her back the way it was, and she took up yoga, and the difference in her stance. Yeah. And how she was. Now, I'm going to play a bit of devil's advocate here now, because I also know there are a number of people who'll say that yoga opens up your channeling to negative energies. Have you heard about this?
It opens up the channeling of negative energies. Again, what it does is it settles ourselves. We can all be open to negative energies, no matter what way we look at it. But it is about protecting ourselves with doubt. So if I'm going into practice and I'm practicing in the wrong environment, or literally breathing in the wrong toxins and doing the wrong things, that's going to bring in negative stuff to me. So again, it's very much so about being aware of who I am and taking responsibility for who I am.
Totally agree. Steve?
Does that make sense?
Yeah, Steve, are you going to have your leotard on Saturday morning?
I never leave home without my leotard on.
A nice pink one now, I hope.
well, it doesn't wash well. It's kind of a baby pink colour now at the moment. We're going to be down there on the Saturday.
Brilliant.
Myself, my wife will be down there. We're actually going down on Friday, so we will be there Saturday morning. And I know she's definitely interested in yoga, because she used to do this other thing before, and I can't remember what it's called. It's like martial arts in slow motion. What's that called?
Tai Chi.
Tai Chi, yes, she used to do Tai Chi, and I know she did actually express at one point an interest in yoga. So I know she'd be interested, and we both be there. So we will definitely pop in on the Saturday morning and say hello. So looking forward to it. I mean, we did actually hear before, as Alan said, we did hear before. That some people have said in the past that yoga, it's the work of the devil, and that when you start kind of doing all this, that you are opening up yourself for negative energy. Now we did hear it, but we've never heard it since. I think it was a kind of a one-off thing. No one has said it to us since. All we seem to have heard benefits from yoga.
Yeah, I think.
Well, it is interesting that you bring that up again, because the people who are very against it are very religious people. And again, I've had my own battles, with that, my own personal battles with certain religious orders, because what they do believe, and very much so, I've dealt with people in the Vatican, what they believe is that that we cannot control our own breath. And that's why, certainly the Catholic religion are very against it. And I have been asked to leave certain places, and I've been asked not to teach certain people because of that, because of their beliefs, not because of my belief is that it opens me to my own energy, my own higher power, my own connection. And it's not. I don't need a person in the middle.
Yeah, totally.
To be open to my own higher consciousness.
Yeah, who
so
needs a middleman? And of
very
course,
much so.
what we said earlier is also about, taking care of our health. But we also have to be aware that it's not just about what we eat, but it's also about our postures. Now, I do an awful lot of sitting down because I do a lot of IT stuff. And I know it's not the best thing. And yoga could probably help me in a lot of ways to get rid of stiffness and stretching and all that kind of stuff. And I just it's one of these things I'm going to have to get around to, because it's not just the food that we eat, but it's our bodies as well. And all the kind of stiffness in the joints and all that. And you can go to a sports therapist and he'll treat you and he'll crack your neck and do all that normal stuff. Yeah. But I think the yoga, like the Tai Chi, is a lot more subtler and it's dealing with energies. Now, I have heard, now I don't know whether you could tie yoga into the same thing, but I was told a few years ago down in South America, a guy I used to work with, he used to go down there and they had this energy dance and they would dance and the dance was done in a certain way that it manipulates the energy all around you. And I kind of get the feeling that yoga might be doing the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are manipulating our energy. Because, energy can't be created or it can be destroyed. Yeah. But it can be moved. And, hence the whole thing, when you say, that you're sat in a certain position, for long periods of time, that's what's happened in our society today, is that we're being driven to being put into postures that we're not naturally meant to be in for long periods of time. So therefore our energy gets stuck within our bodies and therefore, creates, bad posture, an array of different things. I'd be here all night and the different kind of things that happens to the body because of programming, because of children going to school with school bags on their back that weigh 10 ton. It's ridiculous. I have 3 of my own, end up then with really bad backs. And then going into, schooling and then college. And as you say, you're working in IT. Without a doubt, yoga is amazing, for that. And we're only going back to what's already been here for thousands of years. Yeah, this is not a new concept. Yeah. No one has invented this. It's not new. We're going back to our ancestors, what they did to preserve their bodies and to live the fullest life that they could, in those great postures, to be able to...
Sorry, I was just going to say, what about the likes of people that are suffering from symptoms like fibromyalgia and sciatica and stuff like that? What's the good points of yoga? Have you got any good cases where people have been, I won't say the word cured because you can't say that unless you have a bloody license, you have to be a doctor. Yeah. But, when things went into remission or they improved. So do you have any good stories about that?
Well, I think, certainly when it comes to sciatica, which is a huge issue as well for a lot of people, I would have many cases of that. And I also tie yoga into a lot of different things that I do. I do a lot of energy therapies too. But it's all about helping the person to help themselves. And the amount of people, it's incredible. At the moment, my particular niche is I run classes for people with dyspraxia, for dyslexia, for cerebral palsy, all of this. And when you see somebody that didn't have the movement or the comfort of that movement, and then through the practice, as you said, you can go to the chiropractor, get your back cracked, and then you're done until you're in enough pain again to go back. With yoga, it becomes part of your lifestyle. So therefore, your body knows when you haven't done it for 2 or 3 days or 4 days or 2 weeks. And you want to come back into that. Yeah. Do you know? So it's, again, there's just so many cases. I mean, sciatica, again, as a problem is so simply resolved. As I say, we won't use the word cured, but certainly resolved. And then to maintain that, it's incredible. There's so many people, and again, I'm one of them. Sciatica has definitely been an issue for me over the years.
Can people go and learn a certain amount and then do it themselves, or do they have to keep going to a class and keep going to different levels because there's all these different positions?
Not at all. Not at all. And I think there's a huge misconception about what yoga is.
Yeah.
And that if you don't if you're not able to turn your legs inside out and upside down and all this, that, you're not a yogi. If you're able to sit and to breathe and be aware of your breath that's going into your body, you're a yogi. That's it. That's as simple as it gets. Apart from that, that's all desire. If you want, it's a lot of stuff on Instagram and, all the social media, being able to get into different poses and stuff. It's not about that. It's about connecting with your body, the vehicle that we've been given to live this part of our life,
Okay. And do you have is there any kind of spiritual experiences that you've come across, or people in your class have been doing yoga and they've had, because, Ireland, there's very few spiritual mediums, but there's a lot of psychics out there. And obviously, as the energies change on the planet, and people could be in the yoga class, and because it could be a Kundalini thing, or it could be a spiritual thing where they're getting information.
Yeah.
So have you experienced that, or any of the people that you've been teaching have experienced anything like that?
Yes, I had one particular lady, and she always had this, thought that she would never be able to do yoga, and she came into a class very, very skeptic. And, I would teach it very much so at the beginner's level. I teach lots of different levels, but where I like to stay is at the beginners, because I think that's where the need is helping people come into that relationship with themselves. And this particular lady, and her ability then to know that she was able to touch it, lengthen her leg, so she was folding over. So rather than touch her knee, she went down a little bit more and touched her shin. And she was sat down on the mat. And she came back up, and her face was just full of tears. And I just said, "Are you okay?" But I knew in my heart, when you look at somebody through tears, and she just said, "I never thought that I'd even be able to be here and to be able to touch that part of my body."
Yeah, and obviously
part of her leg.
And the warm up is very important, because as somebody I did martial arts years and years ago when I was a kid, and I know the warm up, where there has to be some kind of warm up, because if you do that, you could end up straining something.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. So that's the more serious part, yes, and that's why it's very important to always, to make sure that you do go to a qualified yoga teacher. That does have that, very much sorted out. It's super important, again, to honour your body at all times. And the warm-up, absolutely, because, we're, with stresses in our lives, our body is so tight and taut that we need that time to unwind, to relax it, to heat it, to warm it, and to get into that comfortable space where we can, go a little bit deeper, into our experience of whatever that is.
Okay, and you're going to be obviously at the Open Mind Conference. What do you hope to get out of the conference?
I was only talking to Trevor earlier on today down in Wexford. For me to get out of it is to see people just learn something that maybe they didn't know before, and for me as well, because I get excited about learning new things all the time, and I'm excited about what I'm going to learn this weekend, because there's so many great people I haven't met, some that I have. That's what I look forward to, and that's what I hope to get, is just learn something that I didn't know before. And
plus meeting people that are open-minded, that you can actually talk to, because half the time, you speak to people and the programming kicks in and they just shut down. Yeah. And it's something that we're going to be talking. We're first up on the Saturday morning doing Air Talk, and we go into the psychology of the mind, and all this, people have an opinion as opposed to facts, and the programming and how it shuts people down and how to approach it. And that's what we'll be talking about on the Saturday. And it's quite interesting. All this information, and it took us years to kind of put all this information together. And like yourself, when you go to something like a conference, like the Open Mind Conference, and you're meeting like-minded people, the amount of information you learn and stuff you come across is just amazing. I mean, our last guest, Vincent, we were talking to Vincent, and we came across another type of crystal that he kind of was familiar with, but wasn't really familiar with, and he said, "Give us some information on that. If you get it, send it over to me." So all of us getting together and talking and sharing information, and that's really what it's all about. And that's the fun of it.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. And it is about having fun because, sometimes it can be quite lonely. And I know for me in my journey throughout the years, I've hit sort of lonely patches of knowing what I know and not being able to share that with other people, with other close-minded people, and they just, they sort of tag me as the mad one,
Yeah.
But when you get talking to other like-minded people, they go, and that understanding and that knowing, and be able to just to be yourself, I think is an amazing platform, next weekend, just to know that there's like-minded people there, so
definitely.
That's really exciting.
And that is the great thing. And everybody's on, and we say this all the time, everybody's on the path of knowledge, a journey of knowledge. Yeah. And some people are further down the road to others, and you just have to respect each other's level of knowledge. Sometimes people mightn't be ready for yoga. They might go, that's not for me. But maybe when 2 years down the line, something will happen where they go, okay, I'm ready to take that on board now. I get it. I understand it. So they mightn't be ready for it now, but they might be ready for it in 2 years' time or 2 months' time.
Without a doubt. And isn't that having the open mind, to know, that it's nothing to be afraid of.
Exactly.
All of these topics, they're nothing to be afraid of. It's just to open your mind and see where it sits. And see if it fits with where, your thinking goes. Because we're all thinking all day about so many things and come into these different situations. So to begin to try and make a bit of sense of what's going on, again, it's a nice thing.
Yeah, totally. Well, listen, Tracey, thank you for coming on and sharing your information and the fact you're going to be at the conference next week. I will hopefully see you down there. Steve will be in his leotard. I'm going to pass you over. I'm going to pass you over to Steve. Steve's going to get all your contact details. Steve.
Thanks, Alan. Look forward to seeing you all. Look forward to seeing you all next weekend.
And you too.
Great stuff, Tracey. For people who want to find out more about you and the yoga classes that you hold, where can they find that information? Do you have a website, or are you Facebook, or how can they find you?
Well, I have Facebook, which is just Tracey Boland at the moment. I don't have my website up and running at the moment, but I'm thinking through the open minds through Trevor. I'm very available at the moment. I run a lot of private stuff. A lot of private groups within the HSE, corporate groups and that kind of thing, where I go in to groups and facilitate a lot in that area, as opposed to running public classes. There's a lot of public classes, and I do work from a place called My Yoga Waterford as well, and that's myogawaterford.ie, I think. So any information can be got there.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, Tracey, just stay with us there for a minute. Thanks a lot for coming on. Okay. We're just going to go off to a musical break and we'll be back after this.
This is Open Your Mind Radio on OYMradio.com and peoplesinternetradio.com.
Right, we're back. And that was Tracey Boland, who's going to be teaching yoga at the Open Mind Conference on Saturday and Sunday morning from 8 o'clock. So if you are going to the Open Mind Conference and you want a bit of a stretch, don't go down if you have a hangover. That wouldn't be a good idea. But if you want to kind of learn about yoga and have a bit of a stretch, that's where you need to be at the conference, 8 o'clock in the morning. Steve, there you go. So are we going to have your leotard on and you're going to go down, do some exercise?
No, I don't have anything like that, and I don't even have tracksuit bottoms. Why would someone of my girth want tracksuit bottoms or a leotard? I'd be only pouring out of them. But I'll certainly get down and say hi, and see what it's all about. Because I've seen yoga been done before. From a distance, I've never actually been up close and personal and had a kind of a one-on-one about yoga. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I've actually posted the link up there to the page that Tracey spoke of, the Yoga Alliance Professionals, and you will see a picture of Tracey there and some information in relation to her. She's in Waterford. I thought she was Dublin based on the accent, but she's actually in Waterford. I don't know if she's Dublin moved down to Waterford, but it'd be interesting just to see kind of, what can yoga do for me? Because as you said, Alan, and you're right, every one of us has an issue. Whatever we do on a daily basis, whether we're sitting a certain way or we lie a certain way, but we've all got, every one of us, I'm sure over a certain age, when you get out of the chair, you make more noise than the chair you're getting out of, and that's never a good sign. And it'd be nice if we had some simple techniques from someone who's obviously trained and has done it for, I think it's 23 years. Just to say, instead of sitting this way, sit that way, try something else, try something new. Because, as my granny used to say, and I'm sure every granny did back in the day, you've only got one back, so you have to look after it.
Yeah, exactly. And the exercise needs to be done. I mean, we're all culprits of it. We don't do it. We might take care of our innards and, eat good food or as best we can and take care of serapeptides and stuff. But, it's the exercise, the stretching and everything else. And the benefits of yoga are unbelievable. And for the people who kind of say, well, it brings in negative energies, you know what? Use a bit of protection. And I'm not talking about a condom, right? All you have to do is use some spiritual protection and it should be grand. It should be fine. Right, okay, now, we haven't heard, the plan of attack for next week was to hopefully have Jared Rand on the show. And that would be a brilliant show, for Jared Rand to come on and talk about the med bed and everything else. But he said he would come on, but we haven't heard back from him. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give him till probably midweek. And if we don't hear from him, then we're going to have to book somebody else in and then try and book him in another time. I don't know why, it's just the way things are with some people. I don't know, maybe he's just so busy, I don't know. But it'd be great if we get him on because he has some great information. And he resonates with what Thomas says as well, which is quite interesting. Now, the other thing is that obviously you heard me earlier saying that I've been doing work with Harry on yesterday and today. We did deployment of the translator, and we don't know what the story. I don't know what the story is about the weather. I just kind of point in the direction he wants me to point in and do it. So I will try and find out during the week. We know that we're supposed to be in for a lot of snow and all that. Wouldn't it be fantastic if that didn't happen? All these weather warnings going out and then nothing happens. We just have blue skies and sunshine. That would be fantastic. Now I'm not saying that's going to happen by no means. Trust me, we probably will have the snow. But it'd be interesting if that did happen. That would kind of blow everything out of the water. What do you think?
It would actually, yeah. It would. I was actually going to say to you, kind of off air, so to speak. Is there anything you can do? Like maybe if you hook up with Harry, is there something you can do? Because yeah, from what I've heard, we're looking at, depending on who you listen to, but we're looking at like 8 to 10 inches of snow. It says, and I think it's going to hit the UK from, I think they said roughly midday to Tuesday, I think it was, and probably here. Later on in the week, probably Wednesday, and like kind of where we are out in Walton's Mountain, it's kind of it's not off the beaten track per se, but it's not in the city either. So like a lot of the kind of the local roads, before you can actually make it to a main artery, you've got maybe, it could be 5 to 7 miles of treacherous, ungritted conditions to get through. And I don't really want that. I'd like to be able to get out in the morning, maybe just kind of jump into the car with a t-shirt on and go to work. So if you can do something about that, we much appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I can't guarantee you're going to be wearing a t-shirt, but I know what you're like. You can be 2 degrees below zero and you get your car with a t-shirt on going, it's a bit nippy, but it's not too bad. I should have been born in Spain because I hate the cold. I hate the cold. I should have been. You do. So with this pole shift that's happening, and we're going to be going back from 23.5 degrees to 0 degrees, as Thomas said, it's going to be a temperate climate. So I really look forward to that, I don't know when. It might be, 20, 30, 50, 100 years. I don't know when it's going to happen, but apparently it's happening at the moment. Even better if we go to the New World. If that happens, that would be fantastic, in a temperate climate. So we also have to do some research on that. Now, we did try and get somebody on. We emailed her and we asked her to come on to talk about the New World because she's a regression hypnotherapist, but unfortunately she's too busy to come on. So we will be looking for somebody else to hopefully come on and talk about the New World. We did touch base on it last week with Greg Canton. And he had a great talk about it. And again, we'll do a part 2 with Greg because that was good information. And there's 300 trips on the ayahuasca, so that was quite interesting. But there you go with the Orgone technology. I look forward to when Vincent gets his website up and running, because some of these pyramids that he does are lovely independents, are really nice, you know. But it goes to show how much science he's put into making them. He's not just getting a YouTube video and banging them all together and going, there you go. He's actually using a lot of his spiritual intuition and the science of frequencies and everything else in them. And that's why I said on the show, it's important if people are going to buy them, you buy them from somebody who you have some background information, and you're not just getting them off eBay by somebody who's just made them and without no thought behind it. Maybe there's people making them that don't even know what Orgone or Wilhelm Reich is. Maybe they're just making them because everybody else is, and it's a way of making money. I don't know. So just be on your guard. But, you know, next week the website be up and running, so that'd be good. Right, from myself, Alan James, take it easy, stay safe. I am trying to get through emails and YouTube videos, but I am doing a private project at the moment that's going to take up some time. So my time now is getting limited. But I am doing my best to try and catch up on things. So thanks a lot for all the links and stuff. And for myself, Alan James, take care. Have a good week. Steve?
Yes, I want to thank everyone who joined us this evening on both People's Internet Radio chat room and also on OYM chat room also. And everyone who's listened to the podcast as well, thanks for being here. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for sharing your 2 hours out of your day with us. We really do appreciate it, and it's nice to know that there are other people there who are willing to open their minds and listen to our guests each and every week. So we're going to hand over to People's Internet Radio stream now. Not sure who's up next, but we'll catch you all again in 7 days. From myself, Stephen George. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.